Hi everyone. Today we're going to take a look at unboxing and putting together a Champion generator. This one is the 9375 starting watts, 7500 running watts. I believe it's actually a Canada only one. According to the Champion website, it only has a Canadian flag, so it's probably a local one here. Nice thing about this one is you've got two basic 20 amp plugs in the front, which means you can run something close by, and then a 30 amp, which I believe is more of an RV thing, and then the bigger 30 amp 12240 L1430, which is what I run in my house out through the side of the garage. Well, it's hard to see inside here. I've got my panel and a cord running there, and I just run it under the garage and outside. I am replacing what is a bit of a mess to see, but a Stanley 5000 running watt all-weather generator. Those thing's a nice generator. I had actually just upgraded to this from an older Champion model. The thing was a 4000 running watt. 4000 starting watt, 3000 running watt. It got us through many bad storms, but last year we went through a stretch of about 3 days without power, and it was one of the coldest stretches we've had here in a long time. About 31 degrees, negative 31 I should say, and the 3000 was just not enough to keep heaters running and keep us warm, so I upgraded. But this Stanley model, while it's a great generator, all weather, can be out in the rain, problem is it is a beast to try and start, and this one here comes with electric start. So here we go. Inside you've broken down the box, and you've got obviously the generator, a quick start guide, the manual. This thing is nice. It's got the IntelliGauge and starter switch. Inside here, obviously, you've got your two 20 amps standard plugs. You have your 30 amp, which is I think it's an RV is the main one. This is the one I'll be using right here, which is your 12240, which will connect to the house. Little breaker for the smaller ones. Big one for the main one. Here you've got your battery down here, already sitting in there. Just have to connect it up. And then oil over here. Parts that it comes with, your two never flat tires. Those suckers are great for rattling your teeth, but not the best, but it is what it is. And I stand. And then you've got the oil funnel. It's nice to have that included because it's always a pain to try and fill these things. They don't put it in a easy location. So we're gonna get this thing up and see what. Okay, so we've just installed the wheels. It's very simple. It's a bolt that goes through it, and then there's a cotter pin on the inside that holds it on. Battery, also very straightforward. Red to red, black to black. There's no real difficult part there. Down here, you've got the stand. Got two bolts, 12 millimeter to hold it. What I used was just some blocks of wood. Put them on, tilt the generator one way to put the wheels on, then use them on the other side to put the base on. Makes things a lot easier. Now I'm working on the oil. Obviously I have to let the generator be flat and put the boards away, but the nice thing about the oil is on most of these generators, the oil, the full level, is basically right to the top. So basically you get to the point where you're overflowing and you're full. It's you kind of almost don't need to have it, you just have to look and you'll be able to tell. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that, and we'll see what we got. Okay, so we've got it fueled. Oil is good. Gotta say, I'm really not a fan of that oil dipstick cap. I mean, that sucker is easy to cross thread. It takes 4 or 5 tries just to get it. I know it sounds ridiculous, but in today's day and age, you should be able to do that easier. So down here, you've got your gas. As you can see, I've got it pointing down, which means run. Choke is currently on. So we're gonna test it up for the very first time. So we'll go over here. We've got it going. Let's try it. We've run this generator now about an hour. It's reading an hour, so an hour, a little over. I ran it with two 1500 watt heaters, so a total of 3,000 watts. Gotta say, I was really impressed. I barely even noticed it when you wouldn't add on the extra heater. You certainly could hear it, but it didn't bog down. My old one over here, the Stanley, it's a 6500 5000 running watt all weather, which is nice because it can be left out in the rain. Can't really show it to you, but it does have control panel on the front that's all blocked off. But this one, I've got to say, I'm impressed. You know, like I said, you start it up and the electric is simple. You know, the push button is something I've never had before, but I've got to say, I'll deal with the extra noise. Concerning the noise, it is definitely on the louder, but the bigger you go, I guess the louder you're going to get. I ran a dB meter on this. It was almost 90 decibels, 91 I think on the exhaust side, 88, 89 in the front. 20 feet away, it was running about 74, which is I think what they claim on this thing. So overall, I'm impressed. A couple of things I didn't like. I mentioned earlier the oil drain plug down here. It doesn't seed very well, so it's very easy to cross thread. So you have to be careful on that. The battery is supposed to be maintained on its own when it's running. I will buy a trickle charger though, because I don't run it that often. I try to maintain the generator once a month, just run it for a half hour just to, you know, keep it going. But we'll see how that goes. Choke lever down here, I have read some complaints online. It is fairly cheap. I can see if you're rough at all, you could easily break it. So you have to be careful of that. But overall, I'm impressed. Just like my old Champion, I had an old 4,000 watt Champion 3,000 running watt, and it was great, but we had a big power failure a year ago, one of the coldest stretches we've had here, and I just could only run 2 heaters at a time, and with the 2 full heaters going, sometimes it would actually trip the breaker on it, so I decided to upgrade, and yeah, I'm impressed. I'm hoping this one will last as long. The last one was 10 years, and I actually just gave it away to my in-laws so that we can get something bigger. My wife works from home now, so it's important that we have both heat and electricity. I don't currently run my cell phones and iPad chargers. I've read some things online. I don't know. You know, the Champion website says that this provides a stable enough power that it shouldn't be an issue, but I do keep battery chargers to maintain those in the event of an outage. But overall, you know, I think this is a great unit, and I'm very pleased so far. I'll have to do the oil change at 5 hours, as per the manual recommended there. You know, and you got to be careful in these generators. One thing you read online is when people have outages for an extended period, if they forget, you know, these things are not supposed to go over, I think it's 50 hours is what this one claims. But you were seeing people, especially down in the States, when the electricity was cut and they were trying to run their generators for 2 weeks, you know, they weren't doing their oil changes and they were noticing that engines were seizing. Well, that's why, you know, you have to remember, if you have, say, a 3-day outage, by the second day, you really should be draining the oil and putting in new oil. It's very simple, very quick, very fast to do. You know, down here, that's your oil drain plug, the gray one. And then, of course, obviously put in the oil on the top. But definitely have to make sure you maintain the oil. And if you take care of your generators, they should take care of you. So overall, I'm impressed, and we'll see how it lasts over time.